Hello, welcome to another episode of The High Ground, powered by Premier Companies. Ryan, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Good morning.
Doing great, too. And guess we have a very special guest joining us from Washington, D.C. today, Ryan.
Nice. Does she know that she's joining us?
I don't.
What'd you tell her?
Well, they're family friends.
Oh, okay.
So, full disclosure.
No surprises. Then.
Well, probably some. So with us today is Congresswoman Erin Houchin, United States Congresswoman Erin Houchin. Congresswoman Houchin, how are you doing today?
I'm great, Sal. It's really good to see you. I was just commenting, I haven't been able to get to church as often as I'd like due to the workout here, but it's great to see you, and I appreciate your friendship over the years.
Well, you probably got a little better excuse for missing church than I do. If I sleep in and I'm only 2 miles down the road, that's probably not a very good excuse for missing. So we got Congresswoman. We always start off with a question of the day, and so you're not exempt from this. So
no one is.
No one is, and we have to answer too. But we got to let our guests go first. So tell us, Congresswoman Houchin, tell us which of your teachers is the most memorable and why?
So my sixth grade teacher actually is one of my most memorable teachers. She, and this is a kind of a couple of stories about her. So she would let students take on projects if they were interesting to them. So this tells you how much of a nerd I am. I reorganized her Dewey Decimal System on recess.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so that's great. Let's not share that part of life. But
we're muting that.
When I was in college, I interned at the state legislature, and she came up to the state house to advocate for the passage of a bill. She was trying to create charter schools in Indiana. She was a longtime public school teacher, but she was lobbying to create charter schools. She wanted to start her own school in our community. So I got to see her as I was an intern, go to the state house, advocate for the passage of a bill, get it signed into law, and open her own charter school. So that had a significant impact on me and my decision to engage in this type of work. Her name was Mrs. Gullion. She just recently passed away, but from Scott County, and she had a huge impact on me.
Neat.
Nice.
Ryan, you want to go next?
So I think it was fourth grade, and I won't mention the name, but we had one who would, she would always take time during the day to read to us. Obviously, we were of an age at that point that we were reading, but she would take that time to read to us. And I just remember the inflection in her voice and how she would read and the way that she could tell that story, and voice would change and put the inflection in and really make the story come to life. And it's just something, I don't know how many times that I've actually, and one of the things that she read was the Boxcar Children. I don't know if anybody's familiar with that, but the Boxcar Children. And so later on, and it was so profound as as those stories go that my wife actually found the entire set, and it actually came in a box that looks like a boxcar. But so I actually still have that set, and that all goes back to the books that I read and listen to now. But that stuck out in my mind that. To really make that story come to life. And it also helps when you're doing public speaking, public reading, and the inflection points and the pauses and all that. So I have to give her credit for that, unless everybody thinks I'm terrible at it, and then that's why she remains nameless. I didn't take a poll whether everybody thinks I'm good at it or not, but I did learn it from her.
Well, mine's going to be a little different, I guess. Also, yeah, Congresswoman Houchin's laughing because she knows me. But mine was also a sixth grade or an elementary teacher. It was a sixth grade, and it was Mr. Sturbaum. And I don't know if any of my alumni from West Washington will remember this, but he would read to us too, Ryan. Yeah, he would read to us also, but he read us Stephen King.
Awesome.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Until one of the kids started having bad dreams and told their parents, and then we got no more Stephen King in the sixth grade.
Wow.
But I forget, it was Night Shift or something. It was one of his short story books, but yeah.
I know. That's good stuff.
Oh, we were terrified. Okay, so back on topic, Congresswoman Houchin, tell us a little bit about what led you to serving in public service, Indiana State Senate, and then now the United States Congress. What led you on this path, and how did you get here today? I guess.
A couple of things. My dad was a dentist. He actually went to Salem High School and um, ended up working his way through. He grew up very poor, first person in his family to go to college. Um, Worked at the American Can Company to get himself through college and dental school, and he loved his patients. Absolutely adored his patients and serving the community in that way. He did not love being a dentist. So he told me, Erin, you can be anything you want to be in the world. There, maybe not a professional basketball player, but there's hardly a limit. But please don't be a dentist. So,
So check that off. Okay.
I took that to heart. But as a senior in college, I interned in the state legislature. Actually, that's where I met my husband. He was an intern in the House while I was an intern in the Senate. And that's when as I said, I got sort of bitten by the bug to be part of the conversation and policymaking. I actually had, after the internship, called the State House every Friday for 6 weeks in a row until I got a job as a legislative assistant. Left college to do that, and then got another job, which was paid more money. It was for a statewide elected official, and it was the worst year of my life.
Oh no!
Totally ruined me on politics.
Oh.
Totally ruined me for a good while. So I graduated from college and went into social work. I worked for child services for about 3 years. Worked for some nonprofits, and then was staying home with the kids. Got my master's degree in political management from the George Washington University. While I was at home with the kids, I was very interested. I remember back in, I don't know the exact year, but Obama had been elected, and our Republican Party nationally was kind of in shambles. And I just had a very strong feeling that we needed to do something differently at our local level in the political realm, and that we build our country from school boards to Washington, D.C. And not the other way around. So I ran for district chairman for the Republican Party against an incumbent chairman. I was 9 months pregnant with my son. I got elected Saturday. I delivered him on Monday.
Oh my God.
And was district chairman for the Republican Party. So having the experience that I had in the legislature, being in the master's program at GW, and then getting elected district chairman gave me some exposure to our United States Senator, Dan Coates, who I was at home with the kids. I was content with staying home, being a stay-at-home mom until my third child, Graham, went to college. Went to college.
College. I was
Went to
going to
kindergarten.
I was like,
Went to
what?
kindergarten, not college, no. But went to kindergarten. But but Dan Coates called and said, I'm looking for a regional director to cover the southeast part of the state. Would you be interested in interviewing? So my husband and I talked, and Sal, Dustin,
Mm-hmm.
he's like, go up and hear what they have to say. Let's call me on the way home. We'll talk about it, and we'll try to make an informed decision. And I went up for the interview. They made an offer. I accepted it, and I called Dustin on the way home and told him, like, I took the job. I know we were going to talk about it, but you can't say no to your United States Senator. So I went back to work, and through that, I was covering about 24 counties in southern Indiana for the senator, including my Senate district. My senator was a 26-year incumbent. He was a Democrat, former minority leader. The redistricting had placed us, in the same district, and I was serving my community as a representative for Senator Coates, and thought that with the experience that I had had previously, plus the work that I'd been doing for the senator, that I might have something to offer for the district as their representative in the Senate. So I ran one in 2014. And then through that led me back to federal office, and here I am.
Well, good. That's
Great.
That is a neat story.
Yeah. So I'd like to just combine a couple questions that we had laid out for you. So, as a new member of Congress, what has surprised you most about Washington D.C. and what's the environment like out there? I mean, what things stick out to you as new and surprises, but just in general, what's it like?
I always tell people my experience here has been really very good. I think that the media often portrays this place as largely dysfunctional, and it's not completely functional, but it is more functional than I think the media would have us understand. So there are many, many things that we do in a bipartisan way that does not get reported. So we've passed more than 40 bills. 86% of them have been with bipartisan support.
That's nice.
Um,
Yeah.
we work very well together. When we can work with folks on the other side of the aisle, it's very cooperative, very collegial. In fact, my dyslexia legislation I'm working on, I've got some Democrats that are engaged in the issue too. So I tell people it's way more functional. It's cooperative, collegial. It's way better than the media would have you believe. And a lot is getting done. Now, I used to think it was you'd hear things like do nothing Congress. That is certainly not the case. I think one day we had 42 different hearings going on at once.
Wow.
We're passing legislation. We're doing a lot of work, good work. It's not always bipartisan, but we are getting things done. And I think that has been the most surprising for me.
That's refreshing because it does seem like, and I quit watching the news quite a while back, and one of the reasons being was it seemed like there was no commonality anymore, and we're in the agriculture industry, and we think that growing food, food is something we all need.
Should run across all boundaries,
right? 3 times a day, hopefully, but well, more than that for me sometimes. But can you tell us a little bit about? And we have, as a farmer-owned cooperative, we have customers from all spectrums, even though down here in southern Indiana, but we have we're politically neutral, I guess, as far as that goes. But you just mentioned some things that you were doing that was across both aisles with either what kind of special projects, or what are not special projects, but what kind of initiatives have you kind of started? And I think some of this is from personal experience, and I won't fill in the blanks for you, but tell us about some of the things you've got going on that are certainly bipartisan.
Yeah, so a couple of things. One, I just returned from a delegation trip with the Speaker of the House to Israel, Jordan, Egypt, and Italy, and it was a bipartisan trip. So we were celebrating Israel's 75th anniversary of their statehood.
Wow.
And it was Republicans and Democrats. Steny Hoyer was on the trip. So that's not a partisan issue for most of Congress. And so that's something that I think is certainly heartening for me. Some of the other things that we're working on, me personally, and my son's dyslexic, I came to know about this issue through him, realizing that many, many students, I mean, my husband and I we both have higher level degrees, and we're able to navigate the system pretty well, but not all families can do that. And we were compelled to try to do as much as we could to help students in this category. About 20% of the population has dyslexia. It's a reading disability. You can learn to read, but you have to be taught in a very specific way. And it is wildly underdiagnosed and underrepresented. So worked on this in the legislature. I'm continuing to work on it at the federal level. We've got Republicans and Democrats working together to try to help students with disabilities and improve literacy. And that's been a major initiative that I think certainly making sure that kids don't get left behind. They don't feel like they're not capable. We want to give them all the resources that they need to be successful and contributing members of the workforce.
Well, food and reading, I think we can all stack hands on that and say
Sure.
that those go across both aisles. So, Ryan, do you have anything else for us this morning?
Well, I wanted to bring it back to Southern Indiana a little bit on. You had an op-ed in the Indiana Soybean Alliance and featured some farm visits recently. Can you give us a little information on that?
Yeah, I did a couple of farm visits. One was we visited the headquarters at Roseacre, and then we also were at the Spring Farm in Williams. And those were very good opportunities. We've been having these listening sessions on the Farm Bill. I'm not on the Ag Committee, but it is an Ag district. So we are wanting to hear from as many of our farmers as we can on what they'd like to see in a Farm Bill, what are the challenges that they are faced with. A couple of things stand out. We did Waters of the USA. We passed legislation to repeal Waters of the USA.
Thank you.
The Senate passed it too, and then the president vetoed it. So that's something we're going to be continuing to work on. I don't know if it will ultimately end up in the Farm Bill, but we will continue to push back on overregulation, particularly on personal property. So in addition to that, workforce has been a major challenge. Making sure that we get a Farm Bill across the desk is certainly something that is on the minds of our farmers. So those are many of the issues that we talked about. I'm on the Workforce Committee, the Education and Workforce Committee, with the Workforce Subcommittee. We're having a hearing today on the WIOA reauthorization or Work One reauthorization. We're always talking about immigration and H-2B and A visas. And, we'll do the border bill today, secure the border, and we'll definitely need to deal with how we get a workforce in place, particularly in agriculture.
Wow.
Yeah,
I can't think of
very good.
anything else that we need as much as that.
Number one issue every day.
Yep. Matter of fact, that was top of mind this morning when we got to work, and it's top of mind when we'll leave, is trying to find help. And we appreciate you all working on that, and certainly being new to Congress. It sounds like you have certainly jumped in and taken some leadership roles and are participating on a lot of committees. It'll be really important to this rural area.
It sounds like we can scratch the question about what you do in your spare time.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't eat
And
or
then she's
sleep.
on the high ground.
Yeah.
On the high ground. Yeah, I'm happy to be on the high ground. This is like the highlight of my day. I am on several committees. I'm on the Rules Committee. It's the oldest committee in the
Wow.
House. That was an appointment by the Speaker. I serve on the Financial Services Committee and the House Education and Workforce Committee. I am on 6 subcommittees. And I also am the elected leader for my class of freshmen. So I have additional, responsibilities with that. But it's been a pleasure and an honor, certainly, to be part of this freshman class, which is a really outstanding group of people. And then, in addition to that, certainly humbling and honored to represent my district in Congress, and as the first female to ever serve in the seat.
That's right.
Nice.
Well,
Well, congratulations. Thank you so much for what you do. And thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Well,
Sal,
Congresswoman,
maybe I'll see you at church soon.
I'll see you at church soon. And
Take her a cup.
we've been going to early service. That's pretty neat. You go in there to early service and kind of get it obviously out earlier. And
I prefer
Nothing.
the early service.
that's right.
Don't tell me. I prefer the early service.
Absolutely.
Congresswoman Houchin, thank you so much for joining us and making time out of your busy day on the high ground. And Ryan, that's all we have today. So, Congresswoman, thank you very much.
Thank you. It's good to see you guys.
All
Take
right.
Take care.
Thank you very much for listening to High Ground, powered by Premier Companies. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe, and follow us on any of the platforms or YouTube. Thank you very much.
Thanks.